let's calculate simple interest and compound interest. But before we do that, let's look at the components used or needed in order to calculate simple and compound interest. So as you can see, A represents the accumulated amount, and then P represents the principal amount, I or R represents the interest rate in percentage, and then T or N is the time period, which is the number of years or months that the interest will be calculated on. Simple interest. Let's look at the first formula, which is the general one used in maths. A is equal to P, open your bracket, 1 plus R times N. Then we have a second formula which is commonly seen in business studies, which is I is equal to P times R times T. So now let's look at an example. Donovan invests 100,000 Rand into People's Bank for 54 months. The bank offers to pay him simple interest calculated at a rate of 11% per annum. Calculate the amount of interest that Donovan will receive after 54 months. Show all workings. So before we look at the solution, we need to identify everything that we need and also read what they actually want from us. So 100,000 Rand will be our principal amount. 54 months will be our term or time period, which we will have to convert into years. 11% is our interest rate. And then the instruction is to calculate only the interest that Donovan will receive and not the accumulated amount. So now let's look at the solution. So in the first solution, we used the business formula, which will only calculate the interest, which goes as following. 100,000 Rand multiplied by 11 divided by 100 because it's a percentage. And then we multiply this by 54 divided by 12, and we do that because it's months and we need to convert it into years. So the simple version would be the 100,000 multiplied by 0,11, which represents 11%, and multiplied by 4,5, which is equal to 54 months. And then the interest that Donovan will receive is 49,500. Then there's another solution that we can use for those that doesn't want to learn a new formula and they feel more comfortable using the mathematics formula. So you take the 100,000 Rand, open your bracket, 1 plus 0,11 multiplied by 4,5. Your answer will be 149,500, which is actually the accumulated amount and not only the interest. So because the instruction says they want only the interest rate, you need to take the accumulated amount minus the 100,000 Rand, and you will also get 49,500. Then compound interest. Now compound interest can be calculated yearly or annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly and daily. Now having to calculate compound interest in these various categories, it can be a little bit complicated. So as you can see here on the side is small formulas that will make things easier. So for semi-annually, you'll need to take N, which is the number of years or months, and you have to multiply it by 2 for semi-annually, multiply by 4 for quarterly, multiplied by 12 for monthly, and multiplied by 365 for daily. And I, which is the interest rate, will need to be divided by 2 for semi-annually, divided by 4 for quarterly, divided by 12 for monthly, and divided by 365 for daily. So let's look at the formula. So you can either use A or S, whichever you feel comfortable with, equal to P, open your bracket, 1 plus R or I, close your bracket, to the power of N. Then let's look at an example. Jabu invested 50,000 Rand for 3 years at an interest rate of 10% compounded annually. Calculate the amount of interest that Jabu will receive after 3 years and show all workings. Now for compound interest, there is no simple way of calculating only the interest. We will have to use the formula and then take the accumulated amount minus the principal amount, and then you'll get your answer as the interest only. So let's look at the suggested solution, which is 50,000, open your bracket, 1 plus 0 comma 1, which is equivalent to 10%, close bracket, to the power of 3, which is your number of years. Your answer will be 66,550. Now, this is not your complete answer because they only want the interest. So now what you will have to do is take 66,550 minus the 50,000 Rand which you initially invested, and you will get an answer of 16,550.